r/ask Reddit. What are things from the early days of the internet that you don't see much of anymore? Website visit counters. And the ones that tell you that you win because you're the 1000th visitor. Under construction GIFs and web rings. I forgot all about web rings. My GeoCities webpage perpetually had an under construction GIF. Apparently I was never done with it. GeoCities was the best. All that free space and no ads. 12-year-old me had a blast coding and designing graphics. I miss away messages. I want them for text conversations. This would be so incredibly helpful. I'm in a movie theater meeting your mom. Response is delayed. Personalizing your cursor. I remember changing mine to a sword. I miss that. You still can do that, whether by directly editing your cursor via file digging and image switch or simple browser extension. If he's anything like me, then he doesn't actually miss the ability to do it. He misses the good times he associates with it, and the feeling of being like an internet wizard for being able to do something that like 2% of the population would want be able to do. Websites that play music as soon as you open them. Ah yes, I forgot about the crappy MIDIs people would set as background music. Them were the times. And that was usually coupled with a cursor that showered down sparkling glitter whenever you moved it. And at first that seemed cool. You would move your little cursor arrow in figure 8s just to see the glitter fall across your screen. But after a while, you just wanted it to stop and go back because the glitter was so distracting. Crappy yet catchy animated video songs, like the Badger one. Badger 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 mushroom mushroom. This is the ultimate showdown of ultimate destiny. Blows my mind that Neil Cicierega is still making stuff on the internet. Active chat rooms. As a very lonely person, I miss those the most lately. I was a heavy chat room user in the early zeros, met some fun people, and even went to chat meets, before meeting online people IRL. Another of those terms from yesteryear, was socially acceptable. I met my husband in a chat room in 1998. Flash intro screens before entering a website. My web designing skills peaked with my Half-Life site. The whole thing was made in Flash. It even had a community forum made in Flash. The intro had a spinning lambda symbol that swooped across the screen like the obscure reference, Glavin Krull. If you hit the back button too far, you had to watch it again. Get this. Flash was originally meant to build rich content websites. People just improvised and adapted it into an animation gamma dev tool, with varying success. Referring to arguments as flame wars. I'm gonna send a PM to the mods that you were flaming me, then I'll put it in my sig so everyone knows. Oh god, signatures too. E-cards that were sent through email. Pretty sure my mom is responsible for about 80% of the volume of those over the last 5 years. E-cards are still very much a part of the Fortune 500 company experience. Skota keeps sending out those birthday and years of service e-cards. Being anonymous and untraceable. I miss that also. Ethan from California. It is quite a shame internet privacy is so scarce nowadays, isn't it? Ethan from California. People with their own web domain that isn't for making money. I still own several domains I bought just for the lulz. One day you will be useful. chaoticgoof.com. Music CDs that had super secret CD-ROM content or website access. Regular people whipping up their own website from scratch. Now it's usually some prefab hosted thing like WordPress or Tumblr. I mean, they do it better, and it looks cleaner than whipping it up by one's limited understanding of HTML. These days a personal website is honestly like a more presentable Facebook page. America Online 10,000 hour free trial discs. I think those discs were on a garbage object on Futurama. They were part of the garbage asteroid that was headed for NNY. The professor used them as a landmark when describing where to put the explosive charge. Sites that use Real Player for video or audio. Don't forget good old Shockwave. Holy shit, I completely forgot about Shockwave. You enter the site and you just browse it. No agree without cookies policy. Agree with our new twos. We've updated our privacy policy. Wanna receive notifications? Wanna bookmark us? This site wants to know your location. Wait, don't leave. We have a special offer when mouse moves up. Enter your email to subscribe to our news. And the special evil for me, the text chat with support on the site exists just to throw into your phone so we can call you after you write anything there. Or the worst, try our app. Or to go even further, here, our website is crippled unless you use our app. Chain emails predicting your death if you don't forward to 14 friends. I feel like those basically became the let's see who will repost this shit posts on Facebook. Except nowadays they're all like, if you don't repost this it shows you don't care about kids with cancer or supporting suicidal people. What I miss more than any one thing on the internet from my childhood, mid-90s to mid-2000s, is how revolutionary the whole thing was. It was like a new frontier to be explored and experimented with. There was so much room for personalization. It was something you had to learn how to navigate well. And there were always new things to learn and discover. New ideas were emerging all the time. And the internet wasn't mainstream back then the way it is now. The internet wasn't integrated into almost anything in one's daily life. So it was like a whole world unto itself. And because it wasn't so widespread and standardized like it is now, it wasn't political the way it is now, and corporations didn't have the same kind of grasp they do now. The internet was, on an experimental level, a completely different thing back then compared to now. Totally agree. Back then it was way less serious, dare I say. You're right. It was like a new whole world to discover, with its own type of people that were incredibly unionized. Really sad how it'll never be that way again. High voltage sign. Winamp. High voltage sign. Really whips the llama's ass. Llama. Nice. How many hours did I spend trying to skin that thing? About the same amount as I spent trying to find my favorite skin. There was a Natalie Portman one that won for a bit. I'm pretty sure I had no idea who Natalie Portman was at the time. I definitely had tens, maybe even hundreds of kilobytes of Winamp skins in a folder. That awful dial-up noise when connecting to the internet. Yes, then not being able to use your phone while you were online. Between 92 and 98 we used to buy magazines which had interesting websites to visit listed. Search engines only covered a very small part of the net. Google was still years away. Yahoo directory, web crawler, Excite, Alta Vista, Ask Jeeves. People today have no idea how shit these were. Playboy dedicated a page every month to interesting, non-porn sites in the late 90s. That was where I read the word blog for the first time. Pretty sure they introduced me to IMDb as well. Strongbird. I still adore Teen Girl Squad. I say dag you all the time. Usenet. When I first signed up for dial-up internet in the 90s, newsgroups was one of the big selling points. The other two being email and web. These days, do people even know what Usenet is? Flash games. Growing up I used to see and play a ton, but at this point it seems like making flash games has gone the way of the dodo. It seems like smaller developers and companies have just gone from flash games to mobile games at this point. LimeWire viruses. I would give my computer aids to get the latest Shrek soundtrack. Funny how many redditors here think that early days of the internet were 10-15 years ago, and not 20-25 years ago. They keep mentioning YouTube, when during the old days modem it took like a few minutes to download just 1 megabyte of information. My dial-up had to walk each packet uphill in the snow, both ways. Download managers. Remember your download being 99% complete after 3 hours, then losing the whole thing and needing to start over because you got a phone call? Download managers, baby. They were an absolute necessity back in the day. L337. I don't know if I miss it or not. It was kind of fun trying to figure out what people were writing. Under 20 redditors. Do you even know what this means? Is this still even around? An old as dirt redditor is curious to know. It felt very edgy and underground back then. I remember a character from an old webcomic who only spoke in 1337. Those GIFs on GeoCities or Angelfire websites that would flash and say this website is a work in progress. Also GeoCities and Angelfire. This is from the really early days of the internet, around 1986. When I was 10 years old, there used to be a famous BBS in my area called the Proving Grounds. Unlike most BBSs of the era, the Proving Grounds was a BBS where the user called the number, and if he was very lucky, they'd get connected to a multiplayer RPG based loosely on D&D. You'd create a character like in D&D, and the sysop would give you a small number of hit points, experience points, and a few pieces of gold. And other users would ask to do battle with you. If you said yes, you and the other user would exchange various kinds of attacks and you'd gain more XP and gold if you won. And you would then keep going to advance to your next level, buy new armor or spells, etc. There were lists of users and you could go down the list and send them a message that you wanted to fight. It was sweet. It was all text based, obviously, but me and my friends used to get togged to her on the weekends and essentially call the number for the Proving Grounds over and over until we got through. In the days of 1200 baud modems it was tough to get through at all. The BBS was always so busy that we could spend hours and hours trying to get through and hear only busy signals. Apparently, after doing some research about the Proving Grounds recently, I found that it was a type of BBS that sysops could acquire and run like a template. The one in our area was just called the Proving Grounds, though. Most BBSs during this time were just message boards or places to trade software. So finding a BBS that was a big RPG was pretty sweet. It was definitely something we all looked forward to doing when we got out of school every day. Anyways, I miss the early exciting days of the pre-WWW BBS world sometimes. Those were some weird times. Ike chat. It's how I first learned of the passing of Princess Diana. Little did I know at the time that one day most of the news I got would come from the internet. Fact that forums is not higher in the comments says a lot about the average age of Reddit. Forums were Reddit before Reddit. Ask Jeeves. Yahoo email accounts. Internet access via CD. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.